Hello viewers, this is Nuka10. It's truly been a while since I actually talked on the channel. I haven't made much content as I have in the past, but I'm hoping this video will become a nice change of pace for the channel. I'm not even sure if my viewers or anyone else will enjoy the format of the video, but I will try to make it worth your time. For this video, I will give my experience and takes on a recent fighting game known as DNF Duel, a review if you will. I will cover the story/concept, gameplay, single and online modes, and the other bits of information about the game. I hope to explain DNF Duel to the best of my ability and give you my sincere opinions to understand my position. Now, let's delve into the world of DNF Duel. DNF Duel, or Dungeons and Fighter Duel, is a spin-off fighting game released on June 2020 based on the Dungeons and Fighter franchise co-developed by its creator Neeple with the assistance of Aiding and Arc System Works and published by Nexon. In this game, you'll get to fight as 16 characters known as adventurers. In the story mode of DNF Duel, adventurers are beings with a calling for quests and adventures possessing great power, supernatural talents, high intellect, incredible marksmanship, or just a simple will to fight. Each character will have their own short story following their journey for their own reasons while being called upon by a greater force known as the Mirror. You'll fight the entire roster depending on who you're playing as for an overarching story while unlocking an ending for each character. The stories were very easy for newcomers such as myself to get into without the context of the franchise's lore. It offered little tidbits of information on the side as the story progresses for those wanting to know the previous lore such as landscapes, civilizations, and other worlds. Accompanied by good voice acting and somewhat static gestures, the story of each character I found interesting and was fully engaged to the end. Plus, you can unlock the last character on the roster when you finish a character story. Just like the good old days. But enough reminiscing. Let's talk about the other modes. Aside from the story, there are other modes to this game: local mode, online mode, practice mode, and collection mode. Local mode consists of the aforementioned story mode from earlier, the free battle mode, and the traditional 8-opponent CPU to find the boss arcade mode, and the survival mode. Next, there's the online mode, which consists of the ranked match mode, player match mode, in which the player can fight, spectate, chat, and use emotes with the other players, and the ranking mode. The next mode of the game is practice mode, which consists of training mode, which allows players to better themselves and practice and utilize various other settings. And the tutorial, an excellently in-depth training system for newcomers to understand the gameplay such as movement, basic attacks, special mechanics, etc. And to do combo trials to get a feel for a character's playstyle and combo system. The last mode we have for the game is the collection, which consists of the player profile, which allows players to choose and customize to better represent themselves with titles, badges, board designs, etc. Replay library, the jam-packed, bonus content-filled gallery, and lastly the glossary, which gives context to the terminology and the world of Dungeons and Fighters. Now that the game has been thoroughly explained, well, at least to the best of my ability, I think it's time for me to share what I personally love and hate about DNF Duel. And man, do I have a lot to say. There's a lot to love about this game. For starters, the game is absolutely gorgeous and is animated fluidly as Bruce Lee's be-like water philosophy. The supers, although brief, are just amazing to watch frame by frame and definitely wallpaper worthy. The character designs ooze personality just by looking at them. Meeple's character designs and artwork have not lost their touch and still going strong to this day. I do love a good soundtrack in my games, and this game comes with some great jams, with awesome tracks mixing classical arcade music, rock, techno, orchestra, funk, chiptune, and relaxed melodies. You'll definitely have groovy new songs to add to your music library. The roster is incredibly fun to play with. No one on the roster feels the same and has their own unique gimmicks, so definitely give everyone a try. My favorites to play includes the tough, undeterred, yet optimistic martial artist striker, whose gameplay is the traditional rushdown style with some added aerial maneuvers. Think of her as a combination of Street Fighters Cammy and Yun, and the old-fashioned wisecracking and just having a good time mercenary troubleshooter, whose gameplay is a balanced, all-arounder character with some trickster moves in his arsenal, such as his traps, explosives, that kinda gives me 2013 Killer Instinct Cinder vibes. The tutorial system, as I said before, is really great and in-depth for newcomers like myself. It does a fantastic job of teaching new players the mechanics of the game and being informative of each character's special moves and abilities. Thanks to Arc System Works, DNF Duel supports rollback netcode, so expect a smooth connection as you fight online. So remember, if your opponent's connection is going at the speed of Wings of Redemption's daily walking mileage, then you'll know who's definitely lagging. Then there's some neat character color references inspired by the Skullgirl franchise. And on the topic of colors, I adore the PC community for all of the amazing mods for the alternate costumes and colors for the characters, and the spectacular voice acting mods such as the hilarious Maximilian Dude mod made by the man himself.
Didn't see that coming. This is too much. I hate myself. Who's this now asshole? I don't like myself anymore. Now I'm gonna delete the mod.
And the English dub mod with amazing voice work sounds brought together by internet voice actor Pinwheel.
Alright, let's begin. You're way too slow. This is how you do it.
Now you might be saying, oh man, DNF Duel sounds amazing, I gotta go to the PSN or Steam store and buy this! But before you go and spend your hard-earned money to get DNF Duel, my beautiful eye friend, I want to share some of my grievances and negative criticisms I have with this game. While having one of the best online connections in recent fighting games, the online of DNF Duel is littered with problems. Mostly in the player match mode, matches can disconnect at random even if both players have stable connections. Players can be stuck on the match results without having access to the retry, switch characters, and leave the match options. Then we'll have to wait for the results screen timer to run out and wait an additional minute for the network to disconnect only to be kicked out of the lobby. Players might also have to make a few attempts and wait to join a lobby with a good connection. For some bizarre reason, joining lobbies with bad, which is red or orange symboled connections, takes little to no attempts to join, while lobbies with good, which is yellow or blue symbols, take more attempts to wait to join. It doesn't help that there are numerous network errors still to this day, even after the 1.03 update. It can be a hair-pull experience most of the time dealing with this atrocious network. Sometimes resetting the game doesn't help, so I hope that the developers will fix the bugs and glitches in their online system. I also have some problems with the gameplay and mechanics as well. The hitboxes of the game are very janky, inconsistent, and can linger longer than needed to the point where I was reminded a lot of the terrible hitboxes in Mortal Kombat 11. Characters would fall out of combos when they should be in a hit stun / juggle state, or certain combos / moves not working on certain / all characters, even in the corner. Characters are still being hit after swapping sides of the screen and combos or being hit from behind. Characters doing certain moves and combos will not autocorrect and can be flipped to move to the other side and be left completely invulnerable to opponents. It doesn't help that players will use these problems to their advantage and tend to try to cheese you out. Then the majority of characters tend to use zoning and mid to long range fighting or have absurdly fast normals, so I hope you didn't marker walk the wrong way at the start of the match, because now you're either getting bodied until the heat death of the universe, or you're on the defense holding the back button frantically praying to the Hindu pantheon for your opponent to drop their combo, or to use the defensive mechanics before your guard meter runs out. Speaking of defensive mechanics, I find the general defensive options futile at times. The roll mechanic, although traveling a good distance and having a fast invincible startup, it has terrible recovery speed with no invincibility, so it can be pretty useless, especially against fast or long normals, mashers, and multi-hit attacks. Then there's the guard cancel mechanic, which costs 100 MP, so depending on your health in the round, you only have half or none of MP. So if you do use it, be sure to be very close to your opponent because not all guard cancels are made equal. Certain characters such as Swiftmaster, Launcher, Ghostblade have good guard cancels and cover good distances. Meanwhile, the majority of the roster has very terrible hitboxes for guard cancel, for example, Striker, Enchantress, and Lost Warrior. It also doesn't nullify multi-hit attacks or attacks that linger. It can leave you wide open even if it connects from an attack, but the opponent is not within range. Dealing with nonsense like this feels like being in the octagon with Jeff Munson.
Jeff Munson here. You like watching people get fucked for free?
It doesn't help that the pushback from the opponent's attacks can make it hard to gauge the ideal distance to use guard cancel, so your best bet is to use it as close to the character as possible. Even if you use it successfully, the majority of the roster can just resume the offensive pressure. Then possibly, the bane of my existence in this game is the invulnerability specials. Just like the guard cancel mechanic, they are not created equal. Some characters don't even have one. Certain characters like Striker, Grappler, Crusader, and Vanguard have conditions where it can range from only hitting high or low, can be grabbed out of it, etc. While characters such as Berserker, Troubleshooter, and Enchantress have reversals that cover their entire hitbox. Then the worst offender of this mechanic is Hitman, because having one good reversal wasn't enough. In his awakening state, he gains an additional move that can not only cover half the screen and makes him safe, but can be cancelled into a combo and uses long range attack super to kill you!
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping!
Then the cherry on top of this ridiculous Sunday is people will just whip them out randomly or when they're even in the slightest bit of danger. So even if you try to bait them and stop your turn to play it safe, you just punched your ticket to getting your Cheeks Clap Express destination. You fucking lost, you idiot. Here's some honorable mentions before my final complaint because I'm typing this at 3 o'clock and I need to stop. Grab attacking is very inconsistent and doesn't give the players enough time and distance to recover neutral when it does work. Having simple inputs and motions at the same time while not really having much of a difference and not having the option to stay on a certain input. I feel that the majority of the roster feels sluggish in the game, could benefit from having a faster movement or better mobility options. In ranked match mode, players don't even receive a win from the opponent that's rage quitting. And matchmaking in rank can take longer as most people tend not to accept the fight immediately. My final issue for DNF Duel is the lack of content. It somewhat feels like the first season of Street Fighter V. Aside from the modes we already have, there's not much for the game that it has to offer. No bonus stages like Street Fighter, no challenge/towers/crypt like Mortal Kombat, no fishing/combo crate recipes, no digital figure modes like Guilty Gear Strive, not even a side-scrolling beat-em-up mode like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I don't doubt that the devs have anything planned for the game's future. My concern is rather what they're going to do to help keep the game fresh and relevant, besides DLC characters. After the EVO 2022 announcements, there's a lot of competition going on for DNF Duel to face. So far, there haven't been any updates, announcements, or even just a confirmation of anything to come. I know the game just came out about 2 months ago, but the DNF Duel radio station has been pretty silent, and any bit of news of the game would suffice for me. I would just hate the game to fly too close to the sun and crash before it can truly shine amongst the other current gen fighting games. DNF Duel has been quite the experience for me the past few weeks. Despite my complaints, I still enjoy and have fun with the game. The game has a lot of potential to flourish and room for improvement. I think just an overhaul of the online network, more single and multiplayer content, and feedback and communication from players and devs would help the game greatly. Mechanics being reworked or new ones added and character balances and patches are definitely needed to help increase the longevity of the gameplay. Would I recommend buying the game in its current state and at the current price? I regretfully would have to say no. I honestly would tell everyone to wait for the future for more content of the game to drop, or possibly wait for the game to drop around, say, $30. As of right now, I would describe the current state of DNF Duel as underdeveloped and still needs time to properly mature. I do thank the people at Meeple, Aiding, Arc System Works, and Exxon for bringing this game to life and bringing new blood into the FGC. May DNF Duel find its way and reach the destination of its grand adventure. I thank all of you Brodies for taking the time out of your day or night to watch my first video review. Hopefully, I was able to explain my points in a decent and somewhat professional manner. If any of you viewers have any feedback, corrections I need to make, or would see more of this type of content, please let me know in the comment section below. Shoutouts and personal thanks to Byron Taylor, VaultRep14, Akira Hill, Saladon, Mainly Genius 101, and Napoleon Blown Apart for helping me and being inspirations for my first big video, personally. Thanks for watching, and I wish all of you Brodies an enjoyable day, no matter come what may. Laters.